police call it Project Kraken, and it is a takedown of the Chesterly gang in Toronto.
They're part of a larger Toronto police investigation that's looking into a gang with roots here in the Chesterly community of Scarborough. Police believe that this gang has been trafficking large amounts of a highly dangerous drug.
Tow truck drivers shot, 4 of them fatally, vehicles torched. Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc on the Toronto area towing scene.
Hey guys, in today's video we're going to talk about CLE's secretive and potentially most profitable source of income. It might sound like a joke at first. When I first found out about it, I was laughing too, but it's actually really deep and legit. CLE has had a reputation for really being in the streets for a long time now. Yet, unlike other large gangs in Toronto, we don't really hear about them losing too many guys to other gangs. They seem to be a lot more low-key about what they do in the streets than other gangs. Pengz says himself that he doesn't like being labeled as a rapper because he believes that he isn't one and it's just something that he's good at. He says that M is more than just music, and that's what makes it so much more interesting. They do some unexpected illegal activities to make money, but the more you think and learn about it, it makes perfect sense. Frenchie isn't lying when he says they're really doing things behind the scenes.
You know the dogs and the demons, they're in the cut, fam. I'm saying, yeah, fam. You know the behind the scenes, fam. You know how that shit go.
Let's get right into it. The towing industry in Toronto has had an ongoing under-the-radar war for over 20 years involving tow truck drivers and organized criminal gangs, including groups like CLE. The unregulated nature of the towing industry means literally anyone can become a tow truck driver, since it doesn't require a special license. And of the 444 municipalities in Ontario, just 17 have tow truck bylaws and regulations, according to the Canadian Automobile Association. Also, the profit in a potential crash goes far beyond just tows. Since a car that has been in a crash typically needs repair work and the driver might need physiotherapy, it is a known fact that these businesses pay the towers to bring them customers. As a result of this, one single car could revenue thousands of dollars, and this isn't even the most profitable part, or the illegal part. Fraud, arson, robberies, and distribution of drugs and weapons are. We'll get into that later on in the video. The towing business is a perfect environment for criminals to thrive in, due to the large amounts of money to be made and the lack of supervision from authorities. Over the past 2 years, the police have been trying hard to disrupt these groups, arresting hundreds of people in raids, big ones happening both in 2019 and 2020, such as Operation Project Kraken that took place in June of 2019. This operation was targeting what they called a coordinated criminal organization, the Chesterly Gang, CLE for short. Since with gun violence, fentanyl distribution, and tow trucks, there was one common similarity, CLE. It was an operation that included a list of 30 different cases of arson, lasted many months, and allowed investigators to be able to allege that the Chesterly Gang was involved in extensive gun and drug activity. Investigators were also able to allege that numerous members of this gang committed armed robberies while having a complete disregard for public safety. An investigator said that in 2 robberies, tow trucks smashed into jewelry stores and then shots were fired. The operation resulted in 599 charges being laid against 73 different people, including 7 tow truck drivers. Police say that they seized 23 firearms with a street value of $85,000 and narcotics with a street value of more than $390,000. Along with over $92,000 in cash, more than 1.05 kilograms of cocaine, 1.1 kilogram of fentanyl, 1.1 kilogram of clonazepam, and over 840 grams of Percocet were seized. This is a serious bust, and only one of many. Finding that many guns, drugs, and that much money implies that the war runs a lot deeper than just the surface. The same investigator as before also alleged that many of the seized firearms were from tow truck drivers, who armed themselves ready to shoot rival tow truck drivers over an ongoing battle over territory. Also, an interesting arrest came from this operation. One of the people charged as a result of this operation was a 74-year-old Cosimo Comiso along with his relatives, known by police for being a mafia leader in Toronto. He and his relatives were charged for conspiracy to commit municipal corruption since they were allegedly attempting to influence a decision on an approved use for a commercial property in relation to a cannabis facility. Pretty interesting stuff. The tow truck wars were actually so deep that there were dirty cops involved. A Toronto police constable who had been with the Toronto police for 11 years was corrupt and helped CLE with their tow truck ventures. He had provided the tow truck companies with 3 stolen police radars, allowing the tow truckers to listen into police conversations to get the heads up on where and when they were coming. and also to get early information on car accidents that were happening to get an advantage in the business. Believe it or not, the police constable is deeper into the legal tow trucking business than just providing them with police equipment. He also actually owned a car rental service and also 2 trucks being operated by members of the group. Shit's getting crazy. Another operation took place in May of 2020. It went by the name of Project Platinum. This operation led to nearly 200 charges, including a charge for first-degree murder. These charges were against members of several organized crime groups working within the towing industry. According to Toronto Police, the towing industry and its lack of regulations has caused the Greater Toronto Area to be the scene of violence between rival tow truck companies for a long time. Several organized crime groups working within the tow truck industry have been using violence and property damage as a way to gain control and territory, in order to maximize profits from the revenue of towing vehicles and the most lucrative part of it all, the frauds that come after the initial tow. Over time, towing companies have been finding ways to inflate prices and to victimize customers. Towing companies were partnering up together to keep prices high so they could continue to rip off customers, and in order to keep profits rising year after year, they would stage crashes with drivers they recruited whenever they weren't making enough money. Tow companies were partnering up with auto repair shops and vehicle rental in order to carry out their frauds. And of course, since insurance companies don't want to be getting finessed out of their money from these companies committing fraud, they would hire law firms and try to sue them, like this one, which was hired by insurance companies and later became the target of threats, violence, and extortion. At the end of Project Platinum, a total of 20 people were facing a combined 191 charges, including 1 charge of first-degree murder and 3 charges of attempted murder. Throughout the investigation, 11 tow trucks were seized, as well as 16 handguns, 13 shotguns, 9 rifles, 1 machine gun, 1 air pistol converted to a .22 cal pistol, 1 sawed-off shotgun, and 3 high-capacity drum magazines. Thousands of rounds of ammunition of various calibers were also seized by the police. Investigators seized 5 kilograms of fentanyl, 1.5 kilograms of cocaine, 1.25 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine, 1.5 kilograms of cannabis, and more than $500,000. Yet again, another huge bust. Now the joke of a war is starting to look a lot more serious. Arson was also a very large part of these very profitable and dangerous businesses. In the first 3 months of 2019, at least 10 tow trucks were torched and 5 tow truck drivers with connections to the tow war were shot, 2 killed in the Greater Toronto Area. The shit is unbelievable. There's guys who are threatening and shooting each other to try and be the first one to arrive for a tow. It almost sounds fake, the craziness of the situation. But even though it's such a large problem in the city and is in business with so many organized criminal organizations, it is so underreported and unknown. The shootings and murder weren't even just on the job either. It was a regular thing to hear of tow truck drivers being killed at their homes. In 3 on French's album Triple Threat, he made a song called Notorious with fellow Toronto rapper Genghis Khan. In the song, he raps about his dead friend who believed in and wanted the best for him, and how he wants to make it big to make him proud. The friend he was talking about was his manager, Caddy. He died in 2018 to tow truck drivers because of his ties with CLE and the Go Get 'Em gang. These drivers were ruthless. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, it helps out the channel so much. Also feel free to leave any suggestions of what video to make next and or feedback in general, it's all greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching and have a good one.